Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is a morning update. For the past couple of days, we've talked about Ghislaine Maxwell and her request of the court to either get the civil case between her and Annie Farmer moved to New Mexico or dropped altogether. Well, we have an update. The judge has made a decision here, and it's neither of those. The judge has decided that she is going to delay this case because of the criminal proceedings and the criminal investigation that is going on into Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, there's two things we could take away from this. One, if we want to be cynical, we could say, well, just the courts bending over backwards again, giving Ghislaine Maxwell and her friends a little bit more time to, muddy the waters and to stall and to make things difficult. Or we could look at it with half glass full, rose-colored glasses on, and say this is actually confirmation of Ghislaine Maxwell being under federal investigation. Now, we've heard that a bunch of times, right? We've heard about her being under investigation, but we've never seen any sources. We've never had any real concrete confirmation of that, right? Well, if this is the case and the judge is delaying this because of the criminal aspect of this, you would have to think the judge has been in contact with the prosecutors and has significant information that says to her that this case will be moving forward in a criminal court. So let's jump into the article at ABC News and see what they have to say about it. This article, abcnews.com, headline, Court agrees to delay testimony of Jeffrey Epstein confidant Ghislaine Maxwell in civil suit. They mean co-conspirator, not confidant, by the way. This article was authored by James Hill. Ghislaine Maxwell, the former girlfriend and longtime associate and co-conspirator and fellow abuser of Jeffrey Epstein, has been granted at least a temporary reprieve from having to respond to questions in a civil lawsuit that alleges she committed sexual battery against a teenage girl, a federal magistrate judge ruled on Friday. And once again, they find a way to avoid discovery phase. It's like a skill for these people at this point. It's one of their work skills, avoiding discovery phase, and these judges just let it continue. I want to say, oh yeah, this is all a plan between the court system and the prosecutors, but really, have they shown us anything for us to give them that sort of credit, for us to believe in them like that? Certainly not me. I don't believe in them. I don't believe that the prosecutors in this case are doing their job correctly. That's my personal opinion, right? And I'll need to see evidence to think otherwise. Because what we know, what is in the public, the evidence that is publicly available to us, it is a home run case here, folks. There is zero doubt what was going on inside of this criminal organization. There is zero doubt that Ghislaine Maxwell was a huge part of it. And I don't know how many times I have said it, folks, from the very beginning. Ghislaine Maxwell was the shadow boss. All right? Let's not act like she was somebody who was sucked into Epstein's web. This is a woman who grew up around spies, around spycraft, around people that were very, very calculating. And if you think that she was, running around like some puppy dog in love with Jeffrey Epstein, well, you're naive. She had a leadership role. She was part of all the decision-making, in my opinion. And furthermore, she was the brains behind the whole operation. I am convinced of that. Jeffrey Epstein had some sick proclivities, and a little bit of money, right? That's about it. He wasn't some genius. He wasn't running around with all these great grand plans. None of that shit. In the mafia, what they do is they'll have the street boss, right? The guy that's the face of the operation out on the street, the guy that's going to take the heat if shit comes down. And then they have the real boss who operates in the shadows. And in my opinion, that's what was going on with Ghislaine Maxwell. And of course, in that mix, Wexner as well. The three-headed dragon, folks. Our very own King Ghidra. Maxwell, who has been accused of several lawsuits of facilitating or participating in Epstein's abuse of girls and young women, sought the delay because of an ongoing federal criminal investigation into Epstein's alleged co-conspirators and because a victims' compensation fund proposed by Epstein's estate is said to be nearing final approval. Again, I don't care about any of that, and the court shouldn't care about any of that either. The most important thing is that we finally get to discovery against these people. Finally, they're going to have to answer questions under oath. But no, the court thinks it's just, it's okay. We're just, we're going to delay this a little while. We'll give them more time to screw things up. We'll give them more time to, contact Dershowitz on the low and figure out a game plan. Because if you don't think that, look, again, I don't have any evidence of this, right? Dershowitz isn't one of Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyers, but do you really think that Maxwell isn't in contact with Dershowitz? I find it hard to believe that she's not, to be honest with you. I'm permitting her not to respond to written questions and not to have her deposition, Magistrate Judge Deborah Freeman said in her ruling from the bench. Deborah Freeman. Another one of these rogue dictators. Oh, I'm a judge, so I'm gonna, I rule the whole world in this courtroom. All of these judges with their pissant rulings that get struck down by higher courts. How often do we see it? How often do we see it with these out-of-control judges? Not forever, but at least long enough to let us know whether the claims process is likely to go forward. I don't even understand. What if Annie doesn't care about that claims process and wants to go to discovery phase? How come it's only up to Ghislaine Maxwell? How come it's only up to the defendant? I'm so tired of these people being taken care of. I'm so tired of these people using every single loophole in the book that were put on the books by their friends in Congress. I am so sick of it, folks. Every single day I wake up to a new and disgusting story about these people. And I'm just so tired of it. Freeman made her ruling in a lawsuit filed against Maxwell and Epstein's estate last November by Annie Farmer. Farmer alleges that she was recruited and groomed by Epstein and Maxwell in 1996 and that Maxwell sexually assaulted her at Epstein's New Mexico ranch when Farmer was 16. But we're going to delay the discovery phase here, folks, because, there's a criminal trial underway as well. Can we see some proof of that criminal trial, or do we just have to believe Judge Deborah Freeman? Sorry, Judge Freeman, I have no reason to believe you. Just because you're wearing that robe doesn't make you some sort of, quality player in this story, a reliable narrator in this story. I don't know you. I don't know your work. I don't know anything about you. So all I do know is the fact that over and over in this case, you seem to be ruling with Ghislaine Maxwell and her friends, and I'm kind of getting sick of it, to be honest with you. There needs to be a way that judges are held accountable in this country because I am so tired of activist judges making rulings from the bench and not following the law. Okay, there's not two sets of laws here in America, okay? There is one law. And it should be blind, and everybody should be given the same rights under that law. You shouldn't have better rights if you have more money and access to Dershowitz or any of that shit, okay? I'm tired of it. The two-tier justice system must be shattered into 5 bazillion pieces. Enough is enough. Annie was extremely distressed and afraid. She was a child in a massive ranch in New Mexico, away from her family in Arizona, and isolated from any source of help. She was alone with Epstein and Maxwell, Farmer's complaint says. And as I've said numerous times on the podcast since I've come home from New Mexico, folks, it is desolate. There is nothing around this place. Even if Annie wanted to try and get away, she would have had nowhere to go. Just think about that for a minute. Think about being a 16-year-old girl in the middle of the high desert like that. Nothing, no civilization around you, and being exposed to these two monsters. Think about the pain and the horror and the PTSD that comes with it later on. And to think this judge has the audacity to again kick the can down the block and make Annie wait for justice a little bit longer? It makes my blood boil. I am so tired of this shit in this case. I am so tired of it. An attorney for Farmer argued against the delay, noting the uncertainty surrounding the potential length of the criminal investigation. Very, very, very fair point. You know how criminal investigations are in America. They can last years. So you mean to tell me we're going to delay this civil case because we have a concurrent criminal case going on at the same time? Sorry, that dog doesn't hunt with me. I don't care. Maxwell shouldn't have molested Annie. Maxwell should not have assaulted Annie Farmer, and we wouldn't have to worry about any of this. Here's an idea. Be a human being, Ghislaine Maxwell. Be a decent human being. I know that's so far out of the scope for the way you conduct yourself and for the way your disgusting friends conduct themselves, but why don't you give it a try for once? We have no indication of any time frame with respect to how long that investigation could go on, said Sigrid McCauley, the attorney for Farmer and 4 other survivors suing Epstein's estate. And to not be able to get discovery and ask Miss Maxwell questions, that puts us in handcuffs with respects to being able to establish our claims. 100%. Sigrid gets it. She knows what's going on here. The lawyers in this case have to have more tact than me because guess what? I don't give a shit about these judges or this broke-ass justice system. It needs to be completely destroyed. Okay? I'll say what the lawyers can't say. This is all a bunch of bullshit. Maxwell only has herself to blame, so Annie should be forced to suffer and wait longer for discovery in her case because Maxwell, because of her own actions, is under criminal investigation too? Yeah, sorry, I don't care. I don't care. Have both trials at the same time. Get it together. I am so sick of the broken ass justice system, folks. God! Responding to those concerns, Freeman said she had no desire to have this drag out. Yeah, then why'd you make the ruling, Judge Freeman? Why'd you give them more time, Judge Freeman? Were you playing golf or your husband playing golf with one of her lawyers, Judge Freeman? I mean, obviously I don't have any evidence for that and I'm just ranting right now, but it just seems like every single time we turn around, there's another judge in this case who is making themselves out to be a complete and utter asshole. And asked to be updated in mid-June on the status of the investigation and the victims' claims program. All right, so it looks like Judge Freeman has delayed this to mid-June, and then she'll wait for an update. And no doubt when the update comes, she'll delay it again probably, because, we have so much time, and the people of the United States love footing these long, drawn-out bills of these jackass litigations that we see going on a regular basis. We know these people are guilty, okay? There is ample evidence. What are you waiting for? Why are you letting them play games? Judge Freeman. Maxwell, 58, has not been seen in public in several months and her whereabouts are unknown. She has denied Farmer's claims and the allegations that she facilitated Epstein's alleged crimes. Oh yeah, well, go ahead, deny all you want. Everyone can deny whatever the hell they want, but let's get you under oath. How about that? How about we get you under oath there, Ghislaine, and then you deny something, huh? Easy to deny when you're not under oath. It's easy to deny when you're hiding in some hole somewhere. Not so easy to do that when you're sitting in that chair and you're under oath, is it? And that, my friends, is exactly why she has avoided discovery phase for so long. She absolutely denies that she participated in this or any other sexual abuse or trafficking or assault, and no court, judge, or jury has ever determined that she was, wrote Maxwell's attorney Laura Menninger in a letter to the court this week. Yeah, of course not. You know why? Because the court's been bought and paid for every time Maxwell's shown up. What do you think? She was going to get caught up in Jeffrey Epstein's first arrest, his first case? She was put under the immunity deal. So please, save that shit, Laura Menninger. Defending this disgusting monster. Nobody's buying your story either here, okay? Let's get to discovery phase. What are you so scared of, Laura Menninger? Why don't you put your client up there on the stand, let her go under oath, and let's get cracking. If this is such a travesty and your client is so innocent, let's get her up on the stand and let's see what's what. Menninger also claimed that the litigation was taking a financial toll on Maxwell. Nobody cares. How about the financial toll it's taken on these survivors? How about the financial toll that the survivors they took on the survivors when they had to pay for therapy out of their own pocket? Nobody cares about your bank account, Ghislaine. I hope you end up destitute, living in the street. How about that? Whatever the worst slum is in the world, that's where I hope you end up until you're arrested. Your whole entire world should be shattered. You're a disgusting, despicable excuse for a human being, in my opinion. Unlike the estate, she is not a multimillionaire and must self-fund her defense, she wrote. No, okay, so what are you doing defending her still? Let her get a public defender like the rest of the poor people. If she's so destitute and she's so poor, let the court provide her an attorney. Who's paying her legal fees right now if she's so broke? Why didn't somebody ask the judge that question? In March, Maxwell filed her own lawsuit against the late financier, pedophile's estate, seeking reimbursement of her legal fees and personal security costs. She claims that Epstein had repeatedly made clear and unambiguous promises to always support her financially, according to her complaint. Oh, okay, since we're just, throwing shit at the wall now. Jeffrey Epstein, I know for a fact, he told me that he was going to give all of his money to the survivors. How ridiculous is that? Her saying that, oh, well, he unambiguously said to me. Anyone can make that claim. Anyone can say that. We're supposed to believe you because, you have such a track record of being honest, Ghislaine. She's so disgusting. I don't think I've ever researched a more disgusting human being than Ghislaine Maxwell. Epstein died by suicide, allegedly, in jail last August, according to the New York City Medical Examiner, 1 month after his arrest on child sex trafficking and conspiracy charges. Epstein pleaded not guilty to the charges. In court filings in the U.S. Virgin Islands, Farmer has indicated a willingness to take part in the voluntary claims program if it moves forward. Nearly 70 other alleged victims have also expressed an interest in participating in the program, which could resolve dozens of claims against the estate without litigation. Well, there has to be stringent guidelines, in my opinion, for that to occur. And I'll let the lawyers hammer that out. They know better for their clients, and their clients know better than I do. But if it was me, and if I was giving advice to somebody who was working on getting one of these claims, I would not sign one single thing that would keep me quiet after receiving those funds. Not a thing. Because guess what? This is a story that must be told. This can't be put away and stepped on and erased from history. These aren't Hillary Clinton's emails. But the program's approval has been held up for months after Denise George, the Attorney General for the Virgin Islands, filed criminal liens against Epstein's estate, effectively freezing all the assets of the $634 million estate worldwide. George has objected to some terms of the restitution plan, which she argued did not comply with the laws of the Virgin Islands or fully protect the rights of Epstein's survivors. And Denise George is a whole nother topic we can discuss, and I've been very clear about how I feel about the situation in the Virgin Islands, and the Virgin Islands trying to situate themselves as a claimant for Jeffrey Epstein's money is abhorrent to me and disgusting and vile. And if they go that route, then I will have to just completely and utterly eviscerate Denise George on a regular basis. But hopefully Denise George has backed off of that, and she's more interested in going after the co-conspirators. If that's the case, and she shows some courage, and she, maybe she drops the RICO charges on these people like I talked about, then I'll look at her in a different light. But as of now, I am very skeptical of Denise George still. In the court hearing Friday, which was conducted by telephone due to the COVID-19 pandemic, a state attorney, Bennett Moskowitz, said that the major issues have been resolved with the Attorney General and that he expects the program to be approved within a week. All right, well, I'd like to see all of the details of that. That would be nice, huh? How about you guys release what the details are so that the public and the people following the case can get an idea? There are a few less contentious matters to iron out, but it's our firm expectation that by sometime next week, that resolution in principle will be formalized, Moskowitz said. In a statement to ABC News Friday, George concurred that the parties are near agreement upon the terms of the fund, which she said would be a substantial improvement from the original proposal from the estate. Well, that's good news, right? Again, I remain skeptical because I don't trust the government to do the right thing in any capacity at this point. So I'll wait till I see what the proposal is and see those improvements for myself. But the original blueprint that the estate had laid out was a non-starter for me. She said she remains opposed, however, to the estate's requirement that survivors sign broad releases to protect other individuals who sexually abuse them. The estate has recently amended the release in effort to address the Attorney General's concerns. That's interesting. Now, I'd like to see what the amendments are. I'd like to see what the changes are before I have an opinion one way or the other. But as it was originally proposed, that was a bunch of straight up horse shit, and I would have signed that no matter what if I was one of these survivors, to be honest with you, because their story is theirs to tell. They shouldn't have to sit on it. They should be able to share it however they want, with whoever they want, and they should be able to put whoever was involved on blast. In the interest of allowing the program to move forward, the Attorney General's office has been working further with the estate counsel and the survivors' attorneys on an agreement in principle, which is still being drafted, George said in a statement. So, there's definitely movement there, and we will stay on top of that and keep following what happens in the Virgin Islands. As you all know, I've been very interested in how that turns out, so I've been on top of that. And I will remain doing that, and I'll keep bringing you updates as they occur. During the court hearing on Friday, Moskowitz also contended that some of the survivors' attorneys were unnecessarily driving up the cost of litigation by demanding the estate search for and turn over documents that aren't relevant to their cases. Every dollar we're spending in the meantime is money that will never be available for the program, Moskowitz said, like he gives a shit. All right, Moskowitz, another one of these guys that acts like he's a quality human being in this, right? Well, I'm here to disperse funds. Yeah, right, sure, buddy. Macaulay had contended in court filings earlier this month that the estate had failed to produce even a single document in response to their discovery requests, and she had sought court intervention to require the estate to search for documents covering the entire time frame of Epstein's alleged abuse of young women and girls. What's wrong with that? Why shouldn't Macaulay have that paperwork when they're going into discovery phase? She should have that at her fingertips. She should have that available to her for her case moving forward. But nah, of course not. We don't have to turn that stuff over. What we'll do, here's what Ghislaine says. Now that we're at discovery phase and we're about to have to turn all of this stuff over, let's find a way to make sure that we can kick the can down the road a little while and we can delay a little bit longer because I'm not ready for discovery and I'm not ready to be outed yet. That's basically the way I see it. The survivors are seeking photographs, video, and audio recording from Epstein's airplanes and homes, financial records, and communications with his alleged co-conspirators, employees, and government officials that span a period of nearly 2 decades. Why would anyone be against them having that stuff? What are you trying to hide there, Moskowitz? In court Friday, Macaulay acknowledged the estate had begun to produce some documents this week relating to her clients, but argued that other relevant evidence was improperly being withheld. Our position is that, with respect to our clients' claims in each of these cases, information relating to Epstein's abuse of other survivors is highly relevant, Macaulay said. The pattern of how he lured girls and then abused them is relevant to our clients. Yeah, no shit. Absolutely, it builds a profile. It shows the way things worked. As opposed to presenting Annie Farmer's case as just a standalone case, what it does is it provides context of just exactly how evil and disgusting Jeffrey Epstein and his friends were. How in the world can the court not see this? Attorneys for the estate have countered that the survivors' demands are disproportionate to the needs of the cases. If everything related to any allegedly bad thing Mr. Epstein ever did is relevant to each action, well, then it could take me 6 months or a year to finish looking for every piece of paper at every property Mr. Epstein owned, Moskowitz said Friday. Well, you better get busy, Mr. Moskowitz. What does that even mean? Oh, it'll take me 6 months. Yeah, so what? Then that's the way it goes. These girls have been waiting for justice for decades in some cases. So quit trying to cover for your friends, Mr. Moskovitz. We know that you don't want to disperse these funds to these survivors. Quit acting like you're some kind of genuine guy. You, Khan, Indike, all of you people involved in this, you all disgust me. The criminal justice system, that disgusts me as well. And Judge Freeman, your decision here, that's disgusting as well. So let's see, folks. Let's see what goes on here. Let's see what happens. Let's see in the middle of June what Judge Freeman decides to do then. But hopefully what this really is telling us, let's hope that what this tells us is that an indictment of Ghislaine Maxwell is imminent and that the house of cards has begun to fall down. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. All right, everybody, I hope you all have an amazing Saturday. I will be back later on with a little bit more.